before we go on, I'm going to bring on our host, Abdul Hakim. Let's get comfortable, get your pads, get your papers. We really want you to walk away with the information that you need, not having to think, what was this, what was the other. Let's get ready and, to indulge and engage. So Abdul Hakim, welcome.
And warm welcome to you and to all who are in our listening audience. Thank you for being with us on this great, powerful discussion that we're going to have. You have chosen to be in the right place this evening because this is such a wonderful subject to discuss, one very close to my heart as it goes, because in this field, I know a lot of individuals who work, particularly in Hatton Gardens and other places. And gold is something that many of us believe will be the medium of exchange for all finances going forward. So it gives me a tremendous, or is indeed a tremendous pleasure and an honor to invite you all to hear our special guest who is with us today, Clive. So please take your devices, spiritual injection audience, and receive our wonderful special guest, Clive. So Clive, over to you, my dear brother.
Welcome.
The introduction. Can you guys hear me clearly, firstly?
Yeah.
Very clearly.
Okay, so firstly, thank you so much for that introduction. Talk about pressure. I'd like to say, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's an absolute honor to be able to speak to you guys and be part of the network, and just to be able to spread the information. Knowledge is key, as you rightly stated, and hopefully, whether you guys buy gold or not, or you buy it elsewhere or through myself, if the knowledge helps you, then it's we can all benefit. So first of all, I think probably important to give you an idea a bit about who I am, as I'm going to be talking about probably multiple subjects. I am the head consultant for Buy Bullion. I specialize in helping clients buy gold and really hold their hand over a journey in the gold market. So we would advise when to buy gold, when to sell gold, and really just be your eyes and ears in the market. Because as you know, if you look at previous recessions we've had, gold has shot up significantly. And it can be hard knowing when to sell gold. And also when it comes to buying, one always wants to know, well, what's going to be the most tax efficient for me? What's going to, provide me the most growth? What's going to be the easiest to sell, which is the most liquid? And that's where our sort of award-winning service comes in. My experience, I'm an ex-broker, New York, London, for 7 years. I worked under the FCA. I worked in corporate finance for a number of years. I've been in gold now just under 10 years promoting it. And I'm highly educated in monetary history, economic and commodities. And I work with a huge network from wealthy families, syndicates, institutions. I work with St. James's Place. So if there is individuals that needed financial help, in regards to, say, placing gold in SIPs and pension advice, I legally couldn't do it, but I have a team of very well-established regulated advisors that can do that. I also work with the London Chamber of Commerce, particularly with a lot of Black networks and ethnic networks. As you can tell, I'm a man of colour, very mixed up from many places. As I was talking to you earlier about. My goal in life and what gets me out of bed, particularly coming from a dark background, I'll be honest, I worked in banking for 7 years, and as you know, there's no ethics in banking. It's about filling your pockets as a broker and making as much money as possible. So I grew up, and it's funny joining this spiritual network because I became slightly spiritual and I became a believer in just helping, love thy neighbor. I'm a big believer of faith. And more importantly, the universe, if we do good and we're positive in the universe, it shall provide. And as I think it was St. Francis said, if you give, you shall receive. So I got out of banking, got involved in gold, and all I've done is given, and I'm very comfortable now, and life is very good, and everybody's more importantly making money and secure their wealth. So that's a little bit about my background and the company in hand. I could talk for hours about why we should buy gold, guys. And I'm not going to do that. Yes, it would be exciting. I promise I wouldn't bore you, but there's so much to cover because the world is going through this monumental change that you've never witnessed, your mum and dad has never witnessed, and their great grandparents have never witnessed. And, you know, it's hard to navigate. There's a lot of smoke out there. There's a lot of bull crap media, without swearing. We're talking about propaganda that we haven't seen since the Second World War. So it's hard to find good information. And that's where somebody like me comes in, because I look behind the curtain. I have a very good team of analysts around me, and we know what's happening. And, you know, I've got a few connections. My nan worked for the British Treasury for 15 years. My mum was Moira Stewart's secretary at the Beeb for 7 years. And the Beeb isn't the same Beeb as it was. You know, it was once a corporation that told the people the truth, and now they're not allowed to talk about the biggest medical fraud in history, the COVID. They're not allowed to talk about the war next door, which is pretty much World War III. They can't talk about the bail-in. You know, we've got a bank bail-in soon. They're not, so there's a lot of lies out there. So my job is to pull back the curtain and just educate people about the markets and how to take advantage of it.
Fantastic. So why is gold so important? Like why is it so important? Why did you pivot into gold as opposed to diamonds, as opposed to silver, as opposed to just brokering generally? What is it about gold?
Okay. Well, as you guys are spiritual, let's never forget gold is written, it's mentioned in the Bible 144 times. It is deemed as always to be wealth. And that's never changed for thousands of years. And if we go back to the largest, or one of the first monetary systems, which was just after Athens, the Roman Empire, you know, one gold coin could buy you a robe and buy you pottery and some food. And today, one gold coin can buy you the best suit and the nicest shoes. So it's always had that value. Whereas if you look at a pound, when you was a young lad, and I'm sure you're not that old, but a shilling maybe.
Yeah, I just have 7 grandchildren.
You look like a spring chicken. I hope I look that good with 7.
I am still that.
Youngster, whether it was the shilling or the pound note in my day, and Mum said go down to the shops in the 80s and the 70s, we could buy 4 loaves of bread and give one to the next bread, last a while. You know, a pound, you know, a coin today, it couldn't even buy you a loaf of bread because its purchasing power has continued to drop. And that goes into the subject of fiat currencies, meaning a Latin term for money in circulation with no intrinsic value. And gold has always had value. So I think that's the key. Now, in regards to your other points, well, why not diamonds and silver and so forth? Well, first of all, I'll let people know of a conspiracy, which I'm still looking into, but I do believe it. There is an unlimited, not an unlimited amount, but there's an abundance of diamonds out there. There isn't a limited supply. Now, the reason being, does anyone know how diamonds come about or how we find them? Yeah. So carbon compression over years, right? Millions of years, it produces the diamond. So our Earth can produce it, and it has done for years, and it still does. So there's, you know, many believe that De Beers are controlling the market, okay, and they're limiting supply. So, but it's a good market. Diamonds have gone up in value, but I think it's a false market. It's also not an easily tradable market. Yeah, it's quite niche. Whereas gold is kind of for the average Joe. The average person can get involved and get a decent amount of gold for a good price. I mean, even the world's, you know, your smallest of diamonds could cost, you know, thousands of pounds. But they're two different markets. Diamonds has never been deemed a store of value ever. It is at some form of an investment, more obviously on the cosmetic side. But, you know, central banks are not buying diamonds to balance their books. You know, the average Joe has never bought diamonds to balance the books, hence why it's probably not in the Bible, because it hasn't been recognized as, you know, over such a long period of time. Silver is gold's angry sister, as we say. When gold goes up 3%, silver might jump 7%. If gold goes down 4%, silver might dropped 10%. Very volatile. It's been flat as a pancake though for the last couple of years, and thank God I haven't really bought silver for my clients. Do I like it? Yes. Does it have an upside potential? Yes. I don't want people coming back to me in years to come and say it's gone up a lot. But there's a big problem in this country when it comes to buying silver, and that is not tax-free. Okay, you are liable for capital, you're liable for VAT straight off the bat. And, 20% punch in the face is, it's not easy to take when there is other opportunities, other precious metals that are tax-free. Okay. The other issue with silver is it's very much driven on industrial demand. Gold isn't. Gold, a very small percentage of gold is used for industrial demand, in particular in electronics, in healthcare. It can reduce tumors, inflammation. It's quite magical because it vibrates at such a unique frequency. And silver is very, very much in demand, 20%, 30% on the industrial side. At the moment, we're going through the world's greatest recession. So the demand for silver is going to drop because the average Joe can't afford to upgrade and get solar panels or buy these expensive electric cars. Okay. So that's my view on silver. I think one should build a foundation in gold first as a low risk asset, and then look at some more exotic stuff going forward. That would probably be the most logical thing to do. Does that make sense?
Of course, perfect sense. But if I'm the average Joe and I am concerned about what's happening in the banking industry and concerned with the value or the devaluing of the US dollar, and if that takes place, it will ill affect currencies globally. And I want to move my money from fiat into gold. How would I go about doing it? Obviously, you can't keep it at home, So how would I go about making
90% of our clients hold gold at home. Don't forget, you can hold 100 grand of gold in the palm of your hand. It's very dense and extremely portable. Okay. So, and we'll speak on a one-to-one when individuals want to buy gold. And if they had security concerns, I could give them the best advice. I could also advise individuals that we have a few security companies we work with, and they can build safe for you, a safe for you in order to put it in there. And me personally, with the way the world's going, and we're moving into a world which is pushing on surveillance and control. Okay, right. This is what the higher ups are pushing: surveillance and control. Gold is one of the very few assets where when you buy it, you're your own bank in effect, which is the beautiful part about it. And if you have it in your house, you're your own bank in effect. You've got your own bank there. But I do appreciate concerns. If you're investing small amounts in the thousands, I would definitely suggest holding it at home and being the boss of it. And obviously don't go around telling people. If you want to invest, you know what people are like, go down the pub, a couple of drinks. You glad the other day, and you're not doing yourself any favors. So what we can do, if you are looking at safeguarding sensible levels, 250,000, 500,000, $1 million plus, then take advantage of a storage or mix it. Yeah. Right. Also, open advice would be, if you do have a safe in your house, have two. Okay, have a small amount in one, some in the other, if anything were to happen, So there is stuff that we can talk about in private with individuals, but I think there's nothing better than having it at your house. Now, the average gold brokerage firm, they'll say, oh, get storage because they earn a small percentage, of the storage fees. So do I. But I'm not here to fill my pockets. I'm here to give you the best advice. Whether you're buying gold from me or anyone else, have it in your own hand. God knows where the world is going. Yes, the security firms that we work with in Hatton Gardens and Heathrow, Market Amit, for example, one of them, which the Rolls use and we use. But I think the way the world's going, God knows, certainly don't have it in a bank deposit because once they execute bail-in by law, they can take deposits and cash. So that's my view in regards to storage, is to personally send it to you. And if it's your first journey in gold, I think it's so important on a psychological aspect to have it in your hands, to actually feel for the first time, here's real money, real wealth, instead of a piece of paper that has no real value. Yeah, that's my view, my
Yeah,
advice.
that's great. Now, in regards to storage and storing in a secure facilities, because from my experience of what I know, or I'm asking you the question, can you cover storage, say domestically, on an average insurance policy?
Well, that would depend on the insurance policy. So obviously the gold that's held in storage is insured. That's part of what the facility offer, but individuals have their own insurance policies. For example, some home insurance policies don't cover gold, and if you were to put gold in your house, you'd have to inform them. In regards to insurance policies and so forth, hands up, I don't really know much about that, and that's sort of the best advice I can give you, I'm afraid.
Right. So just in moving forward then, an ounce of gold at the moment is what, 1,600 plus?
Yeah, we're done. We're trading just over that. We hit sort of like 1640 and we've pulled back to these sort of favorable levels. And I think we're sort of building an assault now where we're just going to hit that all-time high and break it again.
Wow. And can you see that being sustained, or, you know, it's sort of bouncing around a bit?
Well, don't forget, over history, all she's done is rise.
Mm.
And remember, gold doesn't have a limit. This is what people forget. She just kept breaking her all-time highs over time. Yes, there's a period of time during the 2000s, some of the 90s, where she was flatlining. But again, that was a great time to store value. At least she wasn't dropping like the pound's value. The pound has lost 98% of its purchasing power.
So as it's so high, would this then be the best time to buy? Or
well, that's the definition, which you have slightly wrong, because it's not high. And the media will make you believe that. The media are full of rubbish. I mean, I had a call from my nan the other day to give you an idea. Let's just say gold drops for 2 days in a row, because nothing goes up in a straight line. You're going to have your peaks and troughs. What we're experiencing is going up 2 steps and 1 step back. But my nan called me the other day and she went, "Oh, Clive, you know, gold, it's down. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Just saw the TV. I said, Nan, it's actually up. You know, for the year, US dollars were up 22%. I think in gold, in pounds, we're up probably 5-6%. No, I saw the chart and it was going down and it's down." And she's arguing with me. You know, she knows I've been doing this forever. So I said, Nan, you just can't watch the press. They're going to highlight those negative points. What they won't tell you is in the year 2000, in the millennium, it was 250 quid an ounce. And now it's 1,600. And the millennium wasn't that long ago, guys. You know, when you guys were younger, gold was anything from 50 to 100 quid an ounce, you know, probably less depending on your age. So over time, all she's done is just rise. And that's something people need to realize. So the point is it's not expensive. Gold is actually the cheapest it's ever been in history relative to global debt. It's a friggin' bargain. There's a guy called Mike Maloney. Guys, write it down. This guy has changed my life. He's a white gentleman from the US. He runs a company called Gold and Silver, and he is a visionary. He's one of the best analysts I've come across. I've studied him for years. He's made me and my family a lot of money. I've actually thanked him. And, you know, and he'll really just open your eyes to how cheap it is. And going to what the point I was mentioning about him is he's got a saying. And he said it's a gift from God to be able to buy gold this cheap in this environment before it goes to the moon. And I'm a big believer of that, because I warn you guys, in a year or a couple of years, you won't have retail gold. This is not the market we've seen before. We will run out of gold. I've warned my board. We've talked about supply issues. Yes, we have gold in the vault. We're okay for now, but we will run out of gold. The world will run out of retail gold. And what will happen is, forget about the spot price going up. People are just going to put premiums on top, just like what they did with silver when they were hyping it up last year, when they had that big silver squeeze US movement. Yeah. The price of silver kind of doubled just on the base of the premiums. That's going to happen to gold. So I urge people, just try and fill your boots while you can. But I hope that gives you an idea of what, to cover your point, is it's not expensive. It's somewhat cheap.
Well, if I could press you on the point that you just made in regards to the possibility of it going to the moon, how high do you actually think it could reasonably go in the next 2 to 5 years?
Well, you put the word in there, reasonably. So does that mean I have to be somewhat conservative?
Yeah.
I think in the next 12 to 24 months, I think at least it's going to double. Okay. Because what they've done is they collapsed a couple of banks the other day as a tester. Let's see how this is going to work. And it's all been pushed, you know, it's all been acted out, you know, this was all a plan. And then over time, they're going to collapse more banks. And then they're going to say, guys, listen, the banks, they're horrible buggers. Look what they've done. They've done the bail-in. They've taken all of your money. You know, we did tell you this was going to happen. So go to the Bank of England website, guys, have a look. They've released, you know, bail-in execution plan. It's all on their website, but the BBC won't pick up on this. There's also an article about worst recession in history. Anyway, the banks will come out and say, God, they're horrible guys, but guys, listen, we're the saviors. What we have for you is we have CDBC. We have the Brits coin. Yes, it sounds like Bitcoin, doesn't it? And that's great because everyone's going about. And we just put an R in it. But one is for the people, decentralized, and one is a digital fiat bullshit. Yeah, I have to swear because it is that serious. It's me. And that's how they're going to come about, and that's how it's going to unfold over the coming months. So to answer your question, I think that over the next year to two, there's going to be more and more banks. It's a domino effect. We know they're coming. I mean, Credit Suisse just went bang the other day. And then the UK banks are going to go bust. And during that time, people are just going to wake up and your next door neighbor is going to reach home and say, oh, have you heard about gold? And that's when everyone's going to get on board. So 12 to 24 months, I think it could double. Over the next 5 to 10 years, I'm telling you, and hold me to this, I think it's going to have a run similar to the 1970s where it went up 24-fold. I think people like me can change our net worths and become very, very wealthy off of gold, because I think it's going to have a similar run to the 1970s. And it went up 24-fold. And I genuinely believe that 2,400%, it went up from $37 to like 700. And we're in a very similar environment to the 70s, but much, much worse. And if you're interested, I can explain why. But those are my predictions for now. All right.
Okay. Remember back in the day, in the US, the US government made it illegal for citizens to own gold, and pretty much seized all of the gold.
1933, Mr. Roosevelt did that in 1933,
Yeah. So what would stop them from doing the same thing?
And that's a brilliant question, and I get asked that quite a lot. Now, there's two key reasons why that's not going to happen again. Let's talk about the second reason. We go to the first after. Going back in the early 1900s, say like 1930s to 1950s, the average Westerner loved and respected their government. Okay, so it was like JFK saying, it's not what the government can do for you, it's what you can do for the government. And people were like that. So when he wanted to execute that bill and say, you know, you must give your money back, give your gold back, anything over an ounce was declared, and it was 10-year prison sentence and all that sort of nonsense. The people were happy to do that because they liked and they trust the government. Now, that's not the same today. For the last 10 years in the US and in the UK and most Western worlds don't like this communist tyranny bullcrap. And we don't trust the governments as far as we can throw them. So if that were even to happen, the uproar and anarchy and riots would be tremendous, which is going to happen without that anyway. So if you look at, say, a client of mine in Texas, right, that has more guns in his house than probably his underwear. And, you know, you go and knock on his door, the US government, and say, look, can I have your gold back? You know, it's not going to happen.
Not going to end well, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first reason. Now, and it leads me to just another quick subject and why I love gold so much. Because even if the buggers came and knocked on your door And they said, right, I believe you bought some gold the other day, blah, 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 on our records. So yeah, I did. I had it in the garden last night. I was looking at it. Wait there 1 second. Let me go in the garden and see if it's there. Oh, it's gone. What do you want to do about it? It gives us power, guys. It gives you a bit of power and control. So the first reason, as I said, is due to the people. The second reason is that in the 1930s, when that bill got executed, people, the average Joe only had had a very large percentage of their wealth exposed to gold. Because back then we had a proper educational system and people realized gold was real money, okay? So they had an exposure of about 8% to gold, and that was through shares and certificates and physical gold under their mattress. Now, today, may I ask you, how much percentage do you think we own as a people now in comparison to back then? Give me a number.
Of gold?
Yeah.
I think most people don't have any, apart from maybe a wedding band.
So the percentage is 0.8%. Yeah, less than 1%. And that's just because we've been educated to believe gold is for crazy people and conspiracy theorists and so forth. So the point is, there's no gold for them to come to us and get, because the central banks in the last 20 years have bought more gold than ever before in history. They're the ones that own the gold, not the people anymore. So one, it would be illogical because it's not there. And two, the people wouldn't have it anyway.
Okay. So now, obviously, people who are purchasing gold, we want to get rid of our fiat currency that's just stored in banks and it's doing nothing. Okay, I exchange that for some gold. Now, we're never going to be able to spend gold, right? So can you see gold becoming a medium of exchange?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about what I do. Because I don't sell nonsense gold, and what I mean by nonsense gold, and I shouldn't say that to the collectors out there, no disrespect, but the commemorative stuff, you see at the back of newspapers, TV adverts, celebrate Star Wars, buy this coin, celebrate the Concorde or David Bowie or whatever nonsense, right? That's show and tell gold, all right? And I can easily sell that and make much more money, but not because people would complain in years to come, and it's not something I put my heart in. So what we do is we deal with the Royal Mint, and we're one of their main partners, and we buy millions of pounds worth of gold from them on a monthly basis. We get a big discount and we pass it to you. And the beautiful part about working with the Royal Mint is everything we sell, particularly, all the coins are legal tender. So they're actually real money. Yeah, you can legally spend it in the shop. Now, whether you want to do that and the young lady's there scratching her head for 10 minutes while she calls her manager and you make a big queue, that's another question. but it's real money, guys. And I think, we will come to a stage where we're going to have hyperinflation, which we're in. And just like in Germany, it's going to be a Weimar situation where they're going to be kicking, the local currencies along the floor. They will become worthless. We're seeing that now in Turkey and Turkey and Zimbabwe and Argentina and, what's it called? Venezuela. It's being used to make handbags money. So, and I think we're coming to that stage. So gold, yes, I believe people are very much going to be using it as a medium of exchange. I'll give you one example. Well, two examples. I had a client call us up. Oh, my builder wants gold. Yeah, two random people across the country. My builder said, can we pay them in gold? People are waking up to what real money is. And for me, that was a wake-up call as well. All right.
Wow. So what would you advise people who are storing cash as opposed to storing?
Well, you're literally crazy. Let's look at the pound. Yeah, it's remember when we used to go to America when our parents used to take us, right? And everything was half price, wasn't it? 2 for 1, 3 for 1. It's 1 for 1 now.
Yeah.
And remember, I told you this. It's going to go 2 for 1, and the dollar's going to be stronger. So to hold cash is illogical. So I'll explain how it's going to work. Imagine the US dollar flying the plane, the currency plane, and all the other currencies are in the back of the plane. Okay, what's happening is they're jumping out and they're landing to Earth. Yeah, they open up their parachute. They have these few times of gusts of wind, and they shoot up and increase in value. But they're landing. As I said, the Zimbabwe and all the rest of these ones which are near worthless. But the US is going to be the last to drop, but it will slowly start to descend. But that's how the currencies are going to collapse over time. And every fiat currency has gone to zero throughout history. So to hold cash, illogical for that reason. Other reason is obviously your banks are not paying you anything. Even if they paid you this magical 3, 4, 5%, and you're like, oh, that's so much, you know, it's so high, you know, it's not. We've got inflation trading, real inflation at 30%. They just released the numbers. We call it a CPI or CPLI. And so your money's going backwards for that reason. A third reason would be the banks are going bust. So if you hold your money in the bank, legally, they can take your money through the bail-in. Just Google bail-in, you know, they've already executed it, which a lot of people are not aware of. And as I speak to you, we have a bank run. I think it's 2.68 billion has been drawn out from UK accounts over the last 2 to 3 weeks. And, you know, it's only a matter of time before it all goes pop. So no, I think it doesn't make sense to hold cash at all.
So what do you think people are doing with all this money they're withdrawing from the banks? Is it going into things like gold?
We did record sales. So a prime example, I mean, we went from £1 million to £30 million turnover just in the first couple of years. The Roll Mint sales have gone up 5-fold. You know, Roll Mint is running out of gold, hence why they're asking everyone to hand in their mobile phones to get the gold out of it. The Perth Mint ran out of gold. They started selling fake gold to the Chinese. We're running out. So yeah. Yeah, we're running out. There was a question on purity I see popped up. Shall I try and answer it?
Yeah, how do you authenticate the purity of gold?
Well, you're dealing with us in the Roll Mint. Number one, without sounding big-headed, you know, it's from the Roll Mint, so you're not going to get it wrong. Yes, I know the Perth Mint done some dodgy stuff, but I can go into detail. We wouldn't do that. But once we receive the gold from the Roll Mint, we check it as well. All the gold we have is mostly certified, authenticated, and so forth. So yeah, all of that would be provided. And some have higher certifications than others. And that's something we can go into detail next time. But yes, we can very much prove it, I promise. You can even bite it, and I promise it'll put a dent in it. As the cowboy.
So Tara and Silvina, did you want to chime in at this time?
Yes, there was a question in the chat, but that was awesome. I think we had the same question. So, well, one person asked, is it better to have gold assets like some coins or bars, or is jewelry also okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't advise buy jewelry. There is one advantage though, is it's kind of easier to transfer, but you can take gold bars, you know, traveling, and there's certain laws and restrictions depending on your current country and so forth. For us at the moment, coins are going through the roof. One, because they're completely tax-free. They allow you to be anonymous and off the radar. Okay. They also show higher growth than bars, because bars, I mean, everyone jumps to bars when they first see gold, because we see it on films, you know, on the shows. Bars, we're like, yes. Buy the bars. So they're the easiest and they're the cheapest to buy, but they're not the wisest. And coins have outperformed bars massively, sometimes 2 to 3-fold in growth. And one of the main reasons for that is we've been I shouldn't say lucky, but the Queen died. And I really didn't mean to say lucky, but she passed away and it pushed the coins up. Now, it's not saying I'm a royalist. I'm here to make money. I'm not a big fan of the royal family, of what they've done around the world. But look, I'm here to make money for my clients, and most of the British coins have the Queen's head on, and she passed away, so therefore they're jumping up in value, because under mint law, when she passes away, they either scratch or destroy the plates that make up the actual coins, and never make them again. So they're just shooting up in value, and they'll probably continue for the near and distant future, continue to go up. And then we've had a new Charles. Obviously, we've had a brand new king. So everybody around the world has gone crazy and they bought all the new King Britannias. And they've been going up in value quite nicely because we haven't had a king since I've been born. So coins have outperformed bars, and that's an area that we specialize in. And they can be a bit easier to buy and sell as well.
Yeah, the bars do look fancy, but I do notice when you buy a bar, they ask for a whole lot of information.
Yeah, well, because with a bar, you're liable for capital gains tax. That's why. So you're on the radar straight away, and my job is to keep you guys private. So that's one of my primary goals for clients, is to keep you off the radar, so you're not controlled by any one entity or any form of system. You're kind of on your own boss. With the bars, when you sell them, you get below spot price. With coins, you get above spot price. With a bar, you only get one horse in the race, as in it just tracks the spot price. With a coin, it can track the spot price. Plus, because you've got queen on it, by chance they're shooting up just for that reason as well. And going back to the tax side of it, so a bar is you're liable for capital gains tax. Yeah, so as I said, you have to declare plus pay the tax. And if the gold market does pop like it did in the 70s, and I'll remind guys, in 2009, the last recession, it tripled, by the way. So she always does well. And the last thing you want to do, let's just say I'm wrong, right? And it doesn't even go up. We've still done a great job because it's going to hold the store of value. But the problem is if it does go through the roof, like it probably is and it is now, and it goes up tenfold, you want to pay the government tenfold worth of capital gains tax. That's a lot of tax in Rishi's pocket.
Yeah,
and I don't think any of us are fans of Rishi here, because he's not for the people. So that's our view. But sometimes, if you've got 100 grand, I would say maybe worth putting 5 or 10 grand just in bars as a form of diversification. But it really depends on the individual, on what their overall goal is. Are they looking to hold this short term? Do they want to lock this up for years to come and pass it down to the kids, or buy the dream Ferrari, or build that dream house in Jamaica on top of the hill, which I'm trying to do. Everyone's just got their own dreams and their own goals, so it's up to you. But the nice thing about goals is it can make our dreams happen. I'm a big believer.
Okay, but what about, we have some people here who have all this gold jewelry.
Oh, so let's cover jewelry quickly.
What do you do with your gold jewelry?
Yes.
I'm one of those people.
Okay, so first of all, shall I buy jewelry? Now, no. As an investment, definitely no. A couple of reasons why. It can be charged anything from 30, 40, 50% more than the actual spot price because of the labor involved. Understandable. The other problem is most jewelry isn't pure gold. Most jewelry is 18%, 18 karat. Because they have pure gold, as you know, it's extremely soft. You're just going to damage over time unless it's coated. So as an investment, no. A lot of people tend to, if the gold's going up, great, I'm going to go and buy some gold chains. And that's literally your novice. But, back in the day, yes, when gold was favorable, people used to do that. As people have woken up and realized, hold on, there's certain coins I can buy, and they're becoming more and more educated. For example, when I got involved in the game 5 years ago, for every 100 clients, I'd have one black client. Now it's like 10 or 20% of my client base. We are, as a people, waking up. I'm realizing there's other ways to make money in gold apart from just buying gold and then being hit with a big tax bill.
Very good.
Thank you.
So what about in regards to gold items, like gold watches, as we're talking about jewelry?
So I'm a big fan of watches. I've unfortunately wasted my money on a lot of watches and cars, but that's just a sad part of me. Plus, I think I'm going through a midlife crisis. I know, it's so sad. But with watches, I mean, if you look at, say, a pure gold Daytona, or a pure gold Sky Dweller, a number of years ago, they were significantly cheaper, and they've gone up in value a lot just due to their gold content. But again, with a Rolex, it's not pure gold. It's actually called Rolo gold. It's a form of special made. compound that Rolex put together, which has a base metal in there in order to increase durability and hardness. But yes, watches that have high content in gold have benefited from that. So you're getting like a triple whammy, if you like. The watch itself, Rolexes generally go up, and they have shot up in value. But again, because we're going into this massive recession, the markets that are going to feel it are your luxury markets. So your wines and your whiskeys and your arts, you know, and your watches. You're going to see, we've already seen pullbacks on that. You know, you saw Rolex's double in value. A Sky Dweller went from 14 to 22 grand for your standard black face, and now they're like 18 grand. So the luxury market is pulling back. So again, not the wisest way to expose yourself to gold, but yes, it does benefit, to answer your question.
Right. So if I want to set up an account with your company and had X amount of thousands that I wanted to invest, how do I go about investing in your company and, you know, factoring in some kind of return?
Yeah, well, one thing we do is try and simplify the process for you. And one thing that people fall in love with when they start buying gold is they never stop. And then we get high referral rate. Most clients keep on buying. And it's very simplistic in its nature. I will sell you the gold, you put it under your mattress, you wait for it to go up, and then you can sell it either yourself or through us. The process itself is you would pay via debit card or credit card, or you could do a bank transfer. You can come down to our office and grace our presence. The gold then, once a payment's been received, the gold then will be delivered to you. And depending on the gold, it could take a number of weeks, depending on the situation. And that's it. We'll deliver the gold to you. We have a deal with the Royal Mint, the Royal Mail, and a couple of other well-insured delivery companies. So each item is fully insured and free delivery to your house. Some people find the concept, when I got involved years ago, wow, really? We deliver gold in the post? But yes, we do. No, we don't tell the postman it's gold. Otherwise, there'll be a retired postman. A lot of retired postmen running around in the barn somewhere. They probably think it's a CD or whatever. And but yeah, we've been doing it for years. As the Royal Mint deliver, you know, everybody delivers in the post, is what we do. But as long as it's fully insured, touch wood, you know, we don't have any major issues in regards to delivering it like this. And we've delivered to, you know, probably thousands of individuals now.
Right. So if I wanted to buy, say, one gold Cougarand from you tomorrow, how much would it cost me if the spot is, say, 16? I think 40 you mentioned. If it's six, just call it 1600. How much would that cost me for before on delivery?
That's a really good question. Now, Krugers isn't something that I specialize in. I do buy them. I'm not a big fan of them because they were once the daddy of the market when they got introduced in the 60s. Very well recognized, particularly for the older community. But they're not the wisest investment in regards to gold. They're not pure gold either. They have a copper content. So they have this like kind of uglish reddish hue. Also, they've been rather lazy with the design with Mr. Kruger and Springbok. So it's not as favorable as it once was. So they haven't shown the sort of growth that you've seen in other coins that have been introduced on the market since. So that's my view on Krugers firstly. To answer your question, if we look at a more readily available coin, which is liquid, easy for you to buy and sell, and we looked at a Britannia, okay? Yeah. Or let's take a step back and mention a sovereign, because I'm sure a lot of people are aware of what sovereigns are. Sovereigns I wouldn't recommend. Again, they're not pure gold, okay? You don't get the best value for your money. A sovereign's good for an individual that's saving 50 quid, 100 quid over months, you know, and can buy it. And they were, you know, very popular in the 80s and 90s and so forth, but they're not the wisest way to spend your money. So let's look at a Britannia as a coin example. Could I use that as an example?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So a Britannia is 24 karat gold. It's pure 4/9s. I mean, it's the most beautiful gold you'll see, particularly the new ones that we've designed. And there's two different ways you can actually buy this coin. The first way is you could buy a loose coin, yeah, which tends to be either secondhand, and all the websites out there, you'll see them. They won't tell you it's secondhand. They're not going to put you off, but they're usually secondhand, or they've been in circulation, or they're coins that you'll get from the latter part of a production run. So if we were to look at how you make a coin, you stamp it, or what we call strike in the industry. Yeah, it produces the image on the coin. So as you get towards the end of a production run, that stamp wears out, and those coins will then have small imperfections. You with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah. And those are going to be your loose coins, your cheaper ones, or coins what we'd say are ungradable. Okay. Now, those coins are trading around the 1700 mark. Okay. And they're the cheapest and closest to spot price. But the problem with these coins are, and they won't tell you this, but they're not verified, authenticated, or certified. They just come sort of loose in a tube. Okay. And they can be harder to sell. And I tell you why. Right now, we're in this recession, as I keep mentioning, and we're riddled with fraud. I'm sure all you guys have had the fake, more than ever, the fake telephone calls, the fake emails, the fake deliveries. It's frigging confusing. These guys are good now, right? And we're also with a lot of good quality fakes. And I myself have had fake coins come through the door that clients have unwittingly bought on eBay and Amazon, and they look brilliant. Brilliant. They're the best stuff I've ever seen. And the Chinese are so on it. They put the real gold content in there. Like I saw these sovereigns, they have the real gold content, but they're not real. So the loose cheap market at the moment isn't becoming as favorable as it once was, because people don't feel comfortable taking that gamble. Right. So they've shown growth, anything from say 12%, 15% over the recent years. Okay. And that's at 1700. And then you have another area of the market, which is known as the certified investment market. And that's where you buy coins which are encapsulated. They have a serial number. They have an NFC chip. So you can actually scan it. You can see the authenticity of the coin, and you can see the history of the coin. And this market is flying through the roof, over 30% per annum. And that's the certified market. And these are coins that basically come fresh off the press, and they are perfect, or close to perfect. And they're graded from 0 to 70. And this is really easy to get your head around. We specialize, 70 is flawless and 0 is unrecognizable. And we specialize in coins from 65 to 70. Now, if you check our reviews, we have the highest rated service in the country. You'll see my name mentioned once or twice. I thought I'd mention that. And it's because we've bought and sold clients, successfully in this market and made big profits. And because the graded market, which does cost more. So to give you an idea, graded coin in this version would be anything around 2003, maybe 2004, depending on the grade, but you'd probably make twice as much growth. And at the moment, because of these royalists, which is a huge market, I mean, and we're talking Indians, a big royalist. One of my Indian clients I work with has a family of the royal family in every bloody bedroom in their house. Yeah. Crazy. You've got South African royalists, American royalists, Chinese love the rolls. All these big markets, Canadians love them. They're putting millions into the Royal Mint at the moment because they want the Queen's coins, the Charles coins. And you imagine if you was a royalist, where would you put your money? Into a cheap loose coin to celebrate your queen, or would you buy a certified coin to celebrate her that's untouched and a high mint state? And that's why the certified market now has grown to about 19 billion. It's grown to a phenomenal pace. And depending on what your strategy is, whether you're looking at sort of loose, short-term opportunities or long-term opportunities, that's where we could look at a portfolio for you that could be balanced. But those are the differences in regards to the growth market on the prices. Sorry to go into so much detail, but I hope that made sense.
That's fantastic, because those who are in the listening audience, and we're being listened to by people in different countries. So for instance, we have individuals on the line from Holland, from France, and Serbia, in different parts of the world, in the US. So if somebody's abroad and they wanted to benefit from your services, is the process just as simple, but just the shipping costs will be different?
Yeah, the shipping cost as well, that would be different. I mean, some of the clients that I have, like I just took on a Mauritian network, a gentleman that's coming in, he's got numerous individuals in Mauritius that have local currencies that need to buy gold. And he just does it through himself because he's a registered UK individual, and everything goes through himself, which is an option. And it really just depends on the country in hand. I mean, it does help if you have UK banking. At the moment, particularly with the Russian situation and the oligarch stuff and that, they've really tightened up. I mean, years ago, we could accept cash, but traditionally, we'd only want to accept sterling. Yeah. We have international banking as well, in like commerce. We have one of the largest banks in Germany, but we do prefer to have UK residency, but we can take on clients overseas. We have a load of clients overseas, as I mentioned, some clients in Texas, but it really depends on the area, the jurisdiction, the import taxes, if there's any limitations, and that's something we'd have to deal with on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, fantastic. Sister Silvina, did you want to chime in?
Yes, with regards to, you mentioned earlier about the propaganda surrounding this market. And one of them, you mentioned silver being the angry sister of gold. I was doing some research. What you've said has, what I say? Yeah, it has actually. It's contradicted some of the research that I found. So could you just speak into some of the propaganda without glorifying? I'm not asking you to speak, you spend half an hour on propaganda, but can you just as a warning for us and really as a guide for us, can you speak into some of the main propaganda that's being circulated at the moment around precious metals and silver and gold in particular?
Well, I think there's been a great movement called the Silver Squeeze, which seemed like a bunch of individuals who got together and decided to post adverts saying people should buy silver, which I think is brilliant. And I like that, and it was a weird movement. It didn't work, unfortunately, but it got people aware that silver is a good investment. Remember, I've always said I like it. Do I think it will go up? I do. But my job as a broker is to make you money, particularly as I can. I want to impress you, and I want to speak to you in years to come. And we're in profit now. 2 years ago, silver was still trading at the same levels. So, and you imagine, as soon as I sell you, we're behind the 8 ball. We're down 20% already. So, and that's a big problem. I want to get you into profit as soon as possible and get you the right products. But propaganda-wise, the propaganda has been out there for years saying don't buy gold. There's an article in the FT I have in my office hanging up, and it says gold is dead, and it had a picture of a skeleton, and that was their head pages. And look at the price today. That was in the 80s. They're all full of SHIT because gold gives us power and freedom. They really don't want us to have it. So there's a lot of negativity out there. But with gold, people, have to realize the central banks, they're not really buying silver. They're buying tons and tons of gold. It gives us a good idea of where the price is going to go. The logic is you don't get a central bank buying 400 tons of gold last year, the highest level in the history of our records. Well, they're not buying because they think the price is going to go. They're probably buying for another reason. And I think if we can follow their actions and not their word,
follow the money,
that's where we make the big bucks. Because why should these buggers make all the money and not us? And that's kind of my ethos.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Continue. Sorry.
No, that's it really.
So with regards to then purchasing gold, you broke it down, perfectly, very informative. However, there's a question in the chat, and I perceive that they're basically asking, if you don't have 4K, if you don't have 2.5K to go for these certified coins, are there any entry level that they've asked for an account that you can buy it on a monthly basis? I'm not sure if that's something that
anything below really a couple of £1,000 is not really worth buying gold, because gold spot price is trading at 1,400. If it's from our people, I'm not saying I don't work with everyone, we're all the same here, but I have a mission for us to get as much gold as possible, because we used to own all the gold. That's why I get out of bed. That's my little thing that keeps me happy. I want us to try and get some of it back. And whoever it is, if it's through the network, You know, if you wanted to do something small, £600, £1,000, I would help you. I mean, I generally don't get anything from it, but look, it's about helping. If you've even done a review for us or you recommended us to someone else, that helps us, you know, so I can go as low as that. But remember, it's like buying a bottle of water. You know, you can pay £1 for a 1 litre one, or you can pay and buy 6 of them.
Right.
And I always say, just try and get a sensible level together, and then you can get best value for your money. You know, you could buy a sovereign for 300 quid, but it's not pure gold. You know, or 400 quid or whatever they trade. I don't trade them. I'm not even sure now. But and also, I gave an example of a 1 ounce coin. You know, we got clients that come in and buy quarter ounces, half an ounces, which is 600, 1200, and get a mixture. And it's nice to buy fractional gold, because if gold pops like it did, we saw before, and, you know, a 2 grand coin goes to 20 grand, you know, you got a good problem. Because if the car breaks down or you get a hole in your roof and you need to raise 5 grand, you don't want to sell 20 grand's worth of gold in 1 coin. So having some of the smaller ones makes sense, just to give you that bit of diversity and flexibility. Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you.
So just as we're winding down now, Clive, because I've got many Muslims on the line, many of them are looking forward to ending their fast today, because this is the final day of Ramadan, so I don't want to interfere.
You can eat gold. It's good for you. It's good for you. Very, very small portions.
Very good. So tell me something, just before we wind down and go to closing remarks, Clive. And if there's anybody in the audience who has a burning question, raise your virtual hand so I can recognize you. But if somebody is in London and they wanted to avoid the shipping costs, could they make a purchase with you and come and pick up the product?
Yeah, of course. They could come down at any time and come and see us for a tea or coffee. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing the whites in each other's eyes. My doors are always open. I have a lot of families that visit me, you know, every week, whether it's I just got a nice bottle of Remy Martin today from one of my clients. So yeah, if you want to come down and bring me another bottle, I'm happy to accept it. No, but he's been with me for years. But on a serious note, no, we try and meet as many people as possible, you know, but you'll be amazed. 90% of our business, maybe more, is over the phone, you know. People are comfortable dealing over the phone. Yeah, or we can visit, you know, I travel the country and try and meet as many clients as possible. If you wanted me to visit, you know, as long as you got some good jollof, I'll come. You know?
He's talking to you, Jeff. Very good, very good. So just in closing, Sister Tara and Sylvina, did you want to...
got some jollof here. I need to post our address. You could just put it in the container. It's fine. You had some ginger beef or whatever you want to add, no problem. Sorry, I apologize.
I just want to, no problem. We like that on this platform. Have you ever come across people coming together and buying gold collectively?
Yeah, you can do that. So you're talking about syndicates. So yeah, we work with them, particularly individuals that want to raise X amount of money. We also work with churches as well. I mean, they come on board for serious figures, Christian, because don't forget, it's biblical gold. Yeah, you know. So we work with churches, Muslim networks, Christian. And we've got some Catholics as well. We just, the whole shebang. We take everybody on.
Do you help with the legalities behind that, or is that a separate?
No, we don't. I mean, we only work in the spaces as a retailer. I legally can only advise on gold. I've come from a regulated background, so I know the rules. I mean, I can tell you stuff that I'm doing. Like, I try and help people. Like, it's not just about gold. I mean, there's other stuff that could do very well, like uranium. You know, because of this energy crisis. You know, there's other opportunities, you know, but gold is like your safest. It's the one you can buy with no risk and possibly make, you know, 5, 10, 20 times your money. But I try and educate people about other stuff that I'm doing as well, not in an advisory sense, but just to give you my point of view.
Right. Thank you. We've got loads of people in the chat. Please, we posted the website. So go to the website and you will find email addresses, phone numbers, contacts, business addresses. You'll find all that information on the website. So visit the website and get what you need.
Fantastic. Sister Tara?
I don't have any further remarks about this topic in particular. I did want to say that, yes, I do also have some silver coins. I will be trying to keep both. So we'll see what happens down the line. But very informative. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of people contacting you to purchase so that we can get our stores up.
Yeah, get that foundation in the store of value. Well, it's the ultimate insurance policy. It's the knight in shining armor. It's the thing it's like the get out of jail free card on the Monopoly board. So, get as many as you can.
So just final remarks, Clive, like to all of those who are on the line, like, your final remarks to everybody and advice and guidance. What would you advise and guide those who are listening today in regards to the future of precious metals, in particular gold?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize how spiritual you guys were, which is absolutely fantastic for me, because I'm on a journey of personal development and giving. As I told you, I've changed a lot just over the last few years on the books I read and stuff. And I think any final comment I'd have would be to relate to what was said at the start of this meeting, which is, the universe will provide as long as you stay positive. I mean, there's so much negativity out there. One could easily put your head in the sand and say, oh, don't worry, it'll be over. It usually is, and everything will be okay. I think if people wake up, and you talked about knowledge. Knowledge is wealth. If you can educate yourself and surround yourself with the right people, because we all know keys to success and wealth is networking, and we can all help each other and spread love and wealth. It'll only come back to you. The universe will provide. She'll give you, but you have to stay strong. And everyone's going to hit these obstacles. I've got clients can't afford their house. They lost their house because of their mortgages. Thank God they got gold. This is going to get worse and worse across friends and family. You're going to have people that's running out of food. God knows if we're actually going to run out of energy the next winter. So, and people have got to be prepared for these nightmares to come. But if you're positive, you must realize, and I'll end on this note, millionaires are made during a recession. It's just up to you on what side of the team you want to play for. And right now, my team's scoring goals.
Fantastic. Everybody, please, let's give our special guest, Clive.
Thank you, Brother Clive. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
sir. Excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
you, sir.
Very much.
Excellent.
So just before we conclude proceedings this evening, we just want to remind you all that on the 3rd and 4th of June, we have a special guest, Mr. Russell Simmons, who is currently residing in Indonesia. We will be hosting him at the Jumeirah Carlton Towers in Knightsbridge, UK. And we'll be having the reception for Mr. Simmons at the Soho House in central London. So this is a very big deal, right? Because this year we're celebrating the 50th year of the foundation of hip hop. And there is no one who is more at the center of the creation of hip hop. Not that he was a rapper, but he created the platform by which rappers could express themselves and become massive global icons. And as you know, Russell is one of the biggest yogis now on the planet. So he's been able to balance the creation of, hundreds of millions of dollars with a lifestyle that is vegan-based, yoga, meditation. He's just established a hotel in Indonesia, in Bali, a health and wellness center in Indonesia, Bali. So he will be our special guest, God willing, on the 3rd and the 4th of June. There are limited tickets for the 3rd of only 300 tickets. So we're advising, because the tickets are going live today, go on to wealthandwellnesssummit.com and reserve your ticket. I told you today, Thursday, the 20th of April, I do not want to receive calls on the 1st of June saying Hakeem, Hakeem, Hakeem. The venue will be regulated. They have their own security who will be counting everybody who goes into the room. There'll be nothing I can do for you with the best will in the world. So please secure your tickets. As of now, the tickets are on sale for £197 for a regular ticket, and there's a VIP ticket which will allow you to have access to all of the events that he will be doing over the weekend. Go to the website, check it out, and secure your spot, okay? Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Clive, it's been a delight having you on the show. We look forward to doing a part 2. And yeah, we look forward to part 2, and we look forward to expounding upon what we started today. Spiritual Injection community, once again, please take your devices off of mute and thank our special guest for the wonderful information, empowering information that he shared with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Spiritual Injection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.